Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Porsche Minor Mechanics. As discussed in the previous video, this video is about repairs to that seat bolster and a few other bits of trim, maybe tackle the ashtray again as well. I did the video and then I realised I hadn't done an intro for it, so hence I'm doing it now. Anyway, without further ado, let's crack on with the job in hand. Right, let's take a look at the offending article that we're going to be addressing today. This is on my driver's side, and what it is, I've got a little nick. Well, it's a scratch really. It's not a hole, it's not deep or anything like that, but it's a scratch on the bolster, which I'm going to say has been done by something like that running across it. But yeah, that's the only mark there is on this seat, so that's the one I'm going to be addressing today. And just like the other side, if you look here, we've got the wear from the seat belt around the air. Now you'll remember, if you've watched the other video on the first one that I did, you'll see that we've done that one, so it's all been color coded in. And if you remember, we did the ashtray top. I repainted the ashtray top, but the first time I did it I was a bit skeptical about taking sandpaper to it, so you can still see there's a scratch in there. So what I may well do when I get my paint mixed up is I might literally just rub that down, be brave and do it again. Okay, so let's get prepped up and ready to go. Oh, something else I noticed as well when I was opening the door. I'm not aware of a door rattle or anything like that, but inside the end of, this is the end of the, obviously this is probably only applicable to the convertible. Inside that door, just on the edge, there's one both sides, there's a little plastic insert, and that obviously locates up with this piece here. Now, I don't know how, I was wiping, I think I was just giving it a wipe down, but I noticed, listen, it's loose in there. Now, I don't know that when it shuts up on this piece here, that it goes tight, but nevertheless, I'm going to listen out for that and check the other side. It literally just pushes in there, but this one could chatter about in there, so I'm just wondering whether it might be a solution to a door rattle, but I'm not aware I've got one, but I'm going to check it out anyway. Anyway, let's get on with the job in hand. Seat repair number 2. Right, here we go. This is the offending article. There's a slight, I can just catch my fingernail inside it. That's what I'm hoping to repair today. Now, as I'm going to be using a bit of sandpaper in there just to take any rough edges off, I'm going to run a piece of masking tape either side of the scratch, and I'm going to then double that up. And the reason I'm going to do that is because whenever you're using sandpaper on an area as fine and narrow as this, you are always going to catch it on a bigger area, and I'm intent on not doing that as much as possible. So I have a piece, tiny piece of 200 P1200 wet and dry, tiniest piece of sandpaper in the world, and I am going to, let me see if I can take that light away. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm just going to literally rub that area. Just to take off any burrs that might be there. And that feels like it's done the job. And at least by putting that bit of masking tape, I can see a little wear line on that already, which I would have been rubbing underneath it, bigger area than I needed to. So that's that. I'm now going to give it a wipe over with some rubbing compound. Right, I'm just using a pretty basic rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to literally put a little dab of that across it, just to make sure that we get out any dirt. It's even removed a tiny bit, well, you can't see it I don't think, but a tiny bit of the blue from the colour of the leather. But that's that, like that, and it's smooth as. Now we're going to apply the filler. Right, here we go. Hopefully you can, I brought the camera a bit as close as I dare. You can just make out the scuff in there. Just rubbing it down has actually reduced it somewhat. Now I'm going to be using my leather filler. I'll go through the products again when I come to mixing colour. But basically what we're looking for is, I'm going to put a tiny little bit on the end of, this is an old credit card style spreader. You don't get anything like that in the kit, but obviously with my masking tape I haven't got to worry too much about spreading it over, and that is probably all I need to do. I filled the holes, I filled the indentations in the leather, and I have also not left too much residue around the outside. Now that needs a couple of hours to fully harden off. So I'm going to move on to the other repair work which is needed. Let's take you out of there, see if I can bring you forward just a little bit closer. There you go. You can see the white dotted line in the middle, which is where the filler's gone in, and that is literally all I need to do. I might be brave and literally tear off the masking tape at this stage, because I'll probably reapply it for the final sand down, which will be after it's dry. So we'll leave that to dry, and we'll concentrate now on rubbing down this little area around the seat belt, and I may even pull the ashtray out again and do that. Before we move on, I've just had a clean up around this edge. You might have noticed previously that where I removed the masking tape, I had like 2 clean lines. I've gone round with a damp cloth and just rub those lines out, because obviously I don't want to be sanding anything that I haven't got to. So that has left me pretty much just with those little indentations in the leather with the filler in, which we'll leave for that couple of hours until it's hard enough just to sand it down. Right, these wear lines, I'm just going to give them a gentle rub down with my 1200 just to rub out any edges either side, and I think I've got some under there as well. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we'll do that, give that a rub down. I won't do it on camera because I can't get a position on it, and then we can get back to mixing the paint. Right, I've rubbed that down with the 1200, gone all the way around. I put a little bit of masking tape along the bottom just to protect the leather, and of course up here and there as well. The filler is still drying out. I put a little blob of that filler on the bench, and I'll use that as a guide for an idea of when it might be ready to paint and rub down. Right, we're going to mix the paint up now, and I might, shan't I take the sandpaper to that and do it again? Oh, okay, I'll give it a rub down and we'll get them painted. Okay, this is the ashtray, just lifts out, open the lid and pull it out by the lid, pops out. You can see the scratches that are still in that. So yes, I'm going to rub it down and we'll see what it comes out like this time. Right, this is after my first attempt of rubbing it down. I've gone right over the ashtray lid, and I'm onto that scratch, that long scratch now, which I started off with a little bit of a heavier paper. I don't actually know what it was, but I would have said it was probably about 800, something like that, as opposed to the 1200, which is really fine. And I'm now going to go over it now with the 1200 just to see if I can smooth it out any further. I cleaned it all off with the rubbing compound, sorry, the rubbing alcohol. I'm going to give it another clean up now and sand it again with the 12. Right, I'm just about to do a final clean up on it. Like I say, I'm using my 12 now, just very, very lightly over the surface. Okay, you can, you know, to be fair, even with the 12, you could probably still put fine scratches in it, but I'm just rubbing it over. It feels quite nice. I can still possibly feel a little bit of that scratch was quite deep in there, but I'm hoping that the paint, the top coat, is gonna remove the difference. But I tell you what, it's a lot better, it's a lot smoother throughout. Like I say, it's quite scary taking sandpaper to your trim, and this is the first time I've sanded a plastic bit of trim with it. You know, the corners are all nice and smooth. Just don't rub too hard with it. Gentle strokes up and down. And I think I'm going to say I'll give it a little clean up with a bit of rubbing. Right, let's have a little go, give it a little clean up. Probably get a lot of colour out of it with the alcohol as well. Oh, a bit heavy-handed there, but still, give it a good soak. Yeah, look, I should imagine a lot of that's been the paint from the last time I painted it, but I can't see. Oh, I don't know actually. There you go. It's almost gone. I'm tempted. I'm going to give it a coat of paint now. I'm not going to rub it any harder. It's just started to rain, so I'm glad I didn't decide to do this outside. Right, let's get down to some mixing of paint and we'll check on the filler. It's been about an hour now, so we'll check on how that filler's doing. And I'll show you the little blob that I put on the bench to give me an idea and an indication of drying times. But I'll have a quick tidy up and then we'll get the paint out. Like I say, it's looking a lot better, and I'm quite pleased with that. Just got to get the colour right again now. So, okay, let's have a tidy up and we'll get the paint out. Right, paint mixing time. I've got myself a little plastic pot, used to contain trifle, but not important right now. I've got my base colour, which is my blue, as I've got a dark blue interior, and I have some black colour tint and also some magenta, which I learnt from using last time. So I'm going to give that a bit of a shake up. I don't remember doing that the last time. Anyway, and I'm just going to squirt, probably just that much in the bottom of the pot. Or should I go a bit more? Yeah, go on. Don't be shy. Okay, so let's say we've got that much in the bottom. Now I remember mixing mine but I put almost a similar amount of black in it. Now I'm just going to give that a bit of a whiskey, tilt in the pot just to keep it. And I will use the top of my ashtray to try and confirm the colour as best I can. Again, don't think that's enough. I'm going to put a little drop more black in, and I'm also going to add a little drop of magenta. You get a colour chart with your kit. You know, you buy the base kit in any leather paint kit, and there's loads of them out there. They all come with a colour chart to blend shades of your base colour. This kit also comes with a yellow, a white, and another blue as well. Right, let's have a look. Do mix it well. I'm using an artist brush to mix it up. So now I've got something quite dark in there. I'm going to put a little blob on there, and maybe decide I think that's a bit too light still personally, so I'm going to put a little drop more black in, a couple of 3 drops. Didn't want to come out of that one. Right, just to darken it down, give it a good mix up. So this is the second time I think I've made colour for this. Practice makes perfect. Like I say, if you can use it on an insignificant piece of trim, if you want to try it out. It removes very easily while it's wet. You can use just a soft damp cloth, that will take it off, or if it's gone off a little bit or you want to give it a thorough clean, then you can gently use a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Again, that will do the job. Right, so we have now, but the secret obviously is to make sure that you do give it a really good mix. Now that's not bad, you can just about make that out on there, but is it good enough? This is the question. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my little artist brush for now, and I'm just going to paint a little piece over the top of that. Again, I don't think it's dark enough. That is, for me, that's a little bit too blue. I'm going to go over to the car and just try a piece on the other trim. No, it's definitely not dark enough, so I'm going to put a little bit more black in. Give that a good mix. I need some darkness. I remember the last time it was almost 50% black to the amount of base colour that I'd applied. So I believe I'm probably about that now. Just giving it a good mix up. And I've cleaned off the top of the ashtray again. And I'm just going to put a little smidge on there. That's pretty good. That is pretty good on there. Yeah, I quite like that. Do I go a bit darker? Oh, $1 million question. You know what? As it's nearly summer, I'm going to put a little drop more black in. And then that's it, call it a day. And then we're going go for the application. I think I'm going to do the ashtray first. And also, I was looking at the filler repair to the seat bolster, and I seem to have got it so smooth with the wipe, with the around the outer edges, and of course using the spreader, that I don't think I'm going to sand it down. But anyway, a little pair of gloves I'm going to put on, and then we'll go for, so I just don't want this stuff all over my hands. Doodle-doo. It's always a nightmare mixing paint because you just never know that you're going to get it right. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Right, I have a piece of sponge which I'm going to use, certainly for the ashtray, and just clean my little mixer off a little bit. Okay, and just dump my sponge in the paint like so. Make sure you don't get the stuff everywhere, and then all I'm going to do with it is literally wipe over the top of the surface like so. Don't wipe too many times. There, that's the paint on. Just make sure you go around your outer edges. Like I say, only sweep over it once or twice and then leave it to dry. You can always go over it again, but if you start, it dries quite quickly. So if you keep wiping it, you're going to end up spreading it, lifting it, making it lumpy, etc. That doesn't look too terrible to me at all. Much better than the last time so far. And remember, when it dries, it will dry satin. So don't be too put off by the fact that, oh my God, it's very shiny, because it won't be when it's gone off. And I'm just going to leave that on there for now. And I'm going to move over to the car. Forgot about bringing you with me. Hold on a minute. Yeah, we'll go and have a look at the car and see if we can apply some paint there. Right, the seat bolster. I'm using a very fine artist brush for this. You need such a small amount of paint on that seat, on your brush. I actually think I might have too much on there, so I'll just dry my brush off a bit. And picked up the excess. The colour does look rather good, I've got to say. Let's try and get a torch on it. I don't know if you're picking that up or not. Where is it? What's that line you can see there? I don't know, it's just a reflection. Right. So yeah. I've got a tiny little hair on the end of the brush, which is causing me a little bit of annoyance. Another one. Seems the more I pull out, the more. That's it, I've got it. Right. I say the secret with this is to not work it too hard. That is quite good, I've got to say. And what I did with the last one, if I remember rightly, is I went over it as it was drying. With a cloth and just picked off the excess. But that, what is that you're looking at down there? Oh, it's on the, I've got a mark on the front of my screen on the phone. I'm thinking there's something on the seat, but there isn't. Right, okay, so yeah, that's that touched in. We'll look at that when that's gone off. Now I'm going to work on the area up here. I'll give you a bit of a bird's eye view a little bit. Right, okay, so I'm going to touch that top piece in now. And that, I'm going to use my sponge. Now the other trouble with these cars is, if yours is anything like mine, the shades of, mine's got the blue leather, but the shades of the blue seem to vary considerably. So it's not easy, you know, I've got different colours, different shades of blue on my interior, so it's not so easy to get away with a colour match straight away. It doesn't look terrible, I'll be honest, or am I biased? Maybe I am. Like I say, the trick is to not work it too hard. You can always go back and apply another coat. It goes off very quickly. Got a little bit down there, which I'm going to struggle to get at because my seat belt's in the way. But I've got it. I've got it. Okay, now it dries slightly different to its initial appearance, so don't panic too much. Right, I'm going to let that dry off. I had a couple of little nicks in the, just again, this is all seatbelt. Drives you nuts, but it's all a seatbelt. So it's people flicking the seatbelt clasp off and just letting it go. And what I did with this is I'm colouring in the leather rather than actually laying it over the top. But I've coloured in the leather, and then I'm just literally going to wipe over that in a second. It's all quite good, a bit thick there. Okay, and then I'll get a little bit of tissue, he says. And I'm just going to wipe the excess away. And then can even apply a bit. See, I'm just literally rubbing it into the leather rather than having a painted edge, etc. Now I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on it now, keeping it away from my stitching, and then when that dries you'll just be able to polish it with maybe the colour coded polish. I did wipe this over first as well, I might add, with a little bit of what do you call it, rubbing alcohol. Just so tempted to drink it myself. Okay, that's it. Right, let's go back to the ashtray. Okay, the ashtray is now pretty much dry, certainly to the touch already, so I am going to go at it again with said sponge. Just a second. I'm gonna see if I've got enough. Yeah, I have actually. Less is more. How many times have we heard that saying? Yeah. Okay, maybe a little dibble dabble. One of the disadvantages, you might say, of right, that'll do for that. I'm going to cut that pot of paint's quite workable for plenty of time, really, half an hour, maybe longer. But there you have the painted surface again. I'm going to let that dry again, save my paint, and I'll probably go for a third coat on that. But let's give it time to settle a little bit, and also I'll have a chance then to go over what I've done in the car already. Right, the ashtray has now dried. It's had 3 coats. Like I say, it takes 10-15 minutes and you can overcoat it. If you've got a hairdryer, blow it over the top at distance, just give it a bit of warmth if it's a bit chilly. I made a bit of a mistake in the fact that I was putting some rubbing alcohol on a cloth and I splashed a little drop of it on the top of that, so I had to rub that bit down again and overcoat it again. But it's done, it's fine. I'm quite pleased with that. There's one little nail mark still in the top of it, but the long scratch has gone, and that's ready to go back in the car. We'll take a little look in a minute at the rest of the work in the car to see how that seat bolster's come up. Well, that seems to be about it for this job. The ashtray's back in the car. I've had a little wipe round. Everything's just finishing off curing really, so I'll leave it until tomorrow. But I'll give you a little walk round of the car and you can see what you think. I personally am quite pleased with it. quite honest, the seat bolster has come up extremely well and I am quite pleased, but I probably could have got away with maybe filling it one more time before painting it. But I do like, it was the first time I've ever done a repair like that, and I like to rather sort of like treat it gently, get a finish on it and see how it comes up. I may well do that again. The ashtray I'm really pleased with. At the top of that scratch has gone that was running right down the center of it, so it was worth rubbing down. So it just goes to show you can use, if you take it gently and nice and carefully with your sandpaper and your grades, then I'm quite, you know, I'll be quite happy in future to go straight at it, rub it down and do the necessary. So that's that for that repair. I've still got a couple of other little leather bits and pieces to tidy up. I've got one or two in the rear, and to be honest, I've never really looked at the rear because I don't sit in it, and most of the time the wind deflector is up, so I don't really get to see it. But there's a couple of marks either side where people have taken. Makes you crazy that, you know, they've removed the wind deflector and allowed the clips to rub on the leather while taking it out. You know, you think, well, what are you thinking about when you do that? But anyway, we'll get those sorted out as well. So that's about it for this one. I can't wait. I've got some great things coming up. One of my winter projects is going to be upgrading my seat belts. I'm going to change them over for the guards red belts. But I'm going to do the rears as well. Quite a lot of work involved with that. A lot of interior's got to come out. So that'll be a winter project when I lay the car up, sort of like October, November for a few months, because I'll send them off. And I've got a great company that are sponsoring that, so I will bring them online and let you know how and where the best way to go about doing it is. But like I say, that's a bit of a strip down. What else have we got coming up very soon? I'm off to Cornwall in 4 weeks, so I'm looking forward to my road trip down there with my daughter. So that'll be interesting. I'm going to try and take the drone and get a few aerial shots, etc. But we'll see whether there's enough room in the car, because I've got quite a bit of luggage to get in. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Special thanks to all you guys that have subscribed already. Keep those comments coming, and look forward to seeing you in the next video very, very soon. Remember, like and subscribe and watch the other videos, because I do have a tendency, rightly or wrongly, to refer back to another video in my next video. So just the way it works out sometimes. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye for now. Porsche Mechanics signing off.